Hey, how are my fellow teenagers coping with the quarantine and online learning? The pandemic was very swift and almost gave us no chance for defense. With advances in technology and science in the recent years, the spread of misinformation, no doubt, has also risen. However, this trend has exponentially increased with the arrival of the pandemic. Together with this pandemic and the economic crisis that many countries are experiencing today, a massive infodemic has also begun. There has been nationwide panic, riot, and unrest, and it has been further exacerbated by false information. Nonetheless, this is inevitable, as there is a very urgent need for information. I'll give you an example. There is an urgent need for vaccination here in Mexico, and this has also become a very searched topic because people need to know about this vaccination, information how to get vaccinated, where to get vaccinated. However, this has also become one of the central topics that has continuously misled many people. According to the ONU in Mexico, there was a 62% of fake news that have tried to discredit the attempts of science to find a vaccine. This has become a serious problem as it tries to propagate distrust towards science. Misinformation has also promoted conflict and has easily convinced people who are in panic, pain, and very much affected either physically or mentally by the pandemic. Campaign Freedom Fights Fake did an interview with a group of 7,300 people, a group of all ages, about their use of media and information during the COVID pandemic. These interviews were done in Mexico, the US, and many other countries. As a person living in Mexico, focusing specifically on Mexico, the results that the interviews yielded were that there is a great lack of media literacy. What do I mean by media literacy? The ability to distinguish, to navigate information in the internet, in which 47% found it difficult to distinguish between true and false information. Following this up, 37% believe it as a Chinese biological weapon. Not only that, a 25% believe that it was a virus created in a Chinese laboratory. There are also furthermore more ridiculous conspiracy theories that have circulated in the Mexican media, such as Bill Gates buying the World Health Organization, in which 48% of the Mexican interviews believe. Then how does this all link to us teenagers? We as teenagers are most likely at home, learning through a screen. Most of the information that we receive is through the media and the internet. The way that we learn and the way that education has been done has been forever changed. Education should also adapt to the changes in critical thinking, becomes an increasingly crucial asset for a student to survive and adapt in the present day. However, what is critical thinking? It can be defined as making logical and well thought out reasoned judgments using all the information available as most objectively as possible, able to distinguish between fallacies and truths. The education today tells us what to think, not how to think. It tells us the answers, gives us the answers, and not the art of inquiry, reasoning, and questioning. The internet, no doubt, is a double-edged sword. Although it contains many dangers such as false information, it is a great tool. It contains much more information than in the past, and it grants us much more accessibility. With the coming of the COVID pandemic, education has been forced to change. However, it is no easy feat, and people who need to adapt are the students. The people who need to adapt more quickly are us. The first few months, we have been stumbling and experimenting with the system. Many have had mental breakdowns, and the other part, my stress levels have skyrocketed. Because of the situation we live in that puts us behind a screen with less contact with the outside world, we navigate the internet more and more, and our perception dulls. What do I mean by our contact lessons? Although we do talk with our friends, although we communicate with our friends and family, it's all through a screen. FaceTime, text, WhatsApp. Going back, it becomes easy to simplify everything. such as when the information about the virus doesn't affect young people. Young people can recover much more easily. It only affects old people. However, has it ever been thought of, are there long-term effects on young people? Do recovered patients suffer from irreparable lung damage? This is when critical thinking needs to start to kick in. The media and the internet is not black and white. There is a mix of truth and fallacies, and it is our critical thinking that will enable us to pick out the truth. For example, I'll give you another example. On January 14th, 2020, WHO tweeted about the lack of evidence of human-to-human transmission of the COVID-19. However, a few days later, it was confirmed that it was transmitted human-to-human. It could have been not transmitted human-to-human. However, we only thought of the possibility that it wasn't. Have we ever thought of the possibility that we haven't proved it yet? Although there was a lack of evidence, it's important to include all possibilities. Furthermore, at this point of the pandemic, it was in its early stages in which it hadn't become a world health crisis. It hadn't actually spread out to worldwide. All this information came from the internet, and in a way it was not false. However, it misled people. And this is the challenge that we're trying to overcome currently in 2021. Although teachers and the education system cannot change overnight, the change brought about the pandemic will leave a lasting impact on the way education is delivered. Although vaccines will enable people to go outside and schools will resume physical activity, online classes will become increasingly prominent. Furthermore, we must focus on today and not wait for the end of the pandemic. We must question, inquire, and think critically, and by doing so, we will sharpen our perception. By doing so, we will overcome the challenge in which this screen has set for us. Not only that, we will ready ourselves for more future challenges. Thank you for listening to this TED Talk. I hope that you really liked listening.